Let's go through some potential, somewhat realistic Bradley Beal trades. I'm sure people will get upset with some of these, but that's half the fun. Let's start with the Miami Heat. Now, there's two ways they could go about this, right? The Heat get Bradley Beal. Okay, he loves the warm weather, I just found out. So that's great. He's going to Miami, baby. But the Wizards could get back in this potential deal. We got the board here for everybody on YouTube, so it's a little easier to follow. Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, and then let's say maybe Jovic and or the number 18 pick, something like that. An and/or, that both of them, the pick and the player, or maybe just the pick or whatever, maybe just the player. So there's that. Tyler Hero is the main piece of this. Or you go with Kyle Lowry instead. And maybe this is something you're more excited in, Tass, because from the Wizards side of things, because you're like, well, we don't want 20-plus point per game score. We want to be really bad. So let's get Lowry and maybe come to a buyout agreement. Who knows? But anyway, Lowry, Duncan, same sort of stuff. Maybe there's another future first-round pick included in this one. But let's get your takes on a potential Heat Wizards Bradley Beal deal. What do you think?
If I'm the Wizards, I'm hoping for a better pick than the number 18 pick.
Okay.
Somewhere out there. It just feels like with Tyler Hero and the team that they have, they're going to be in the same spot. They're going to be picking where they're going to be picking in the future again. Like this year, they have the 8th pick. They don't have their pick next year. So they're going to get an 8th pick, an 18th pick, Tyler Hero. This is their ticket to getting either a draft pick or a good player. Bradley Beal is the guy that if they're going to turn it down, I know Hero is a decent player, but he's also going to help you win a few games. He's that good in the regular season. The guy can put points on the board. I wouldn't do this if I was the Wizards. I don't think it really solves either a great player coming back or a really good draft pick. So I'm still looking. I don't do this if I'm the Wizards.
Trey?
I completely disagree. I think this is the trade that's going to happen.
Which one, the Hero?
Yeah, Hero. I think Hero is a good get here. I think he's a downgrade from Beal, but he's also a lot younger. His contract is the same length, but for a cheaper number there. And I also don't think Hero moves the needle enough as a number one guy that the Wizards are suddenly worried about being where they are right now. And I don't know. I think he was a good starting point as a rebuild. Plus you throw in the 18th pick. That's 2 solid assets, and probably teams aren't really going to be trying to beat that.
The number 18 pick is solid enough for Bradley Beal.
I think I'm kind of out on Beal. I'll be quite honest,
yeah.
And I just think with the no trade clause and how big his contract is, and the fact that he's 30, I wouldn't want Kyle Lowry. I mean, 18th, you would like a better pick than 18, but the Heat aren't going to offer it because who's offering a great pick for Bradley Beal?
Hopefully somebody.
Well, some possibilities.
Yeah, I think there's a possibility they get a better pick. This would seem like a move that the old Wizards regime would make, like something that just ain't good enough, something that just doesn't do it. I know they're going to get a lot less than what they did or what other teams have gotten.
Yeah, what'd you say it was for Blake Griffin?
I said it was Bradley, Tobias Harris, Boban, and a first-round pick, which wasn't all that sexy.
Pretty much the same.
It's pretty similar.
Blake got MVP votes.
Yeah, here's the other part of this, too, which is wild. And when it happened at the time, we couldn't believe it. I remember us reacting to it. This no-trade clause, I have to keep coming back to it, because hypothetically here, Bradley Beal could tell the Wizards, I'm only going to Miami. So now they have no leverage whatsoever. They'd have to take almost whatever they want. I guess you could turn around and say, well, screw that. You're just playing for us.
Yeah.
That's, of course, all they could do. I don't think they want to. I don't think the new front office wants to. That's why, I think the list is going to be very small, my gut says, where Beal's like, I'll go there, and maybe there. So go get a deal that hopefully, helps you. But don't make the deal too good because I'm going there as well, and I want to play with good players. So that no-trade clause, it's perplexing.
There's a reason there's only one of them
I know.
in the NBA.
And why is it to Bradley Beal?
Because he said he was going to be there, man. He wants to win in Washington.
Oh, Jesus.
For 50 games of a season.
Okay. So you like this Heat sort of package here, a Hero, Duncan, possibly a Jovic, a promising young good player, and then a pick, and maybe even I think they have a future like 2029 or something that the Heat could
if the Heat are willing to give that one up, sure, absolutely take it. But, the get here is Hero and the 18th pick. That's fine. That's a pretty decent return for Beal, considering he gets to call the shots on where he's going.
Okay. Let's move to the Milwaukee Bucks. Like I said, they are being linked here to a possibly a possible Beal deal. If they are, it almost has to be either Middleton or it has to be Drew Holiday to really make the numbers work. So we'll go with the Chris Middleton. Let's say, he's sticking with his deal. He's opting in. It's what? He makes like $40 million, something like that. Bradley Beal goes to the Bucks. Middleton goes to the Wizards. Let's say Marjon Beauchamp and or a future first-round pick, something like that, to sweeten it a little bit. Though some people push back and say, why are they sweetening it at all? Middleton might be a better player than Bradley Beal. That's what some people think. But thoughts on a Bucks-Wizards potential deal?
I don't think this one happens.
Okay.
I think from both sides, really, there would be some hesitancy. You get a lot smaller with Bradley Beal, whether you think he's a better player than Chris Middleton. I mean, you're taking Chris Middleton off the floor, you're getting, you got a smaller team now. Middleton was just doing the rounds with Adrian Griffin, the new coach there in Milwaukee. He was taking the meetings. Is he going to be healthy for the rest of his career? I think that's a fair question. If the Bucks know something and want to move on, I mean, that's a different story, but they seem to have a lot of faith in him. So, tomorrow if they go and field a team into a playoff series without Chris Middleton and put Bradley Beal in there, are they better? I mean, probably not, just because of the size. I don't think it really helps them all that much if Middleton is healthy, of course. So I would hesitate. And then if you're the Wizards again, you're going to be a middle of the road team again. So I don't think this really solves anything.
Yep. Trey, thoughts?
I think the Bucks do this. I think this is a great spot for Beal. I think they can cover up all of his defensive shortcomings pretty easily. Drew Holiday takes the guards who are good. Giannis cleans up things in the back. Brook Lopez, I assume they would bring back in this kind of scenario as well. But I'm with you. I don't think the Wizards do it. They would be getting older, and they would be getting the worst player. Mm-hmm. They would get off the contract, which I think is good, and probably would be the big draw for Washington in this trade, but I think they can do better than getting Chris Middleton.
Hypothetically, though, if you're the Bucks, would you prefer to move Middleton than Drew Holiday, or would you move Drew Holiday more than Middleton?
Well, Middleton just had surgery. I would be concerned about that if I was the Bucks. But I mean, again, he was literally going with Giannis Antetokounmpo, interviewing everybody. So it seems like he's part of the future there. I'm not sure if he's going to be 100% again. It's a weird situation there. So
I would trade Middleton before Drew Holiday quite easily. Drew Holiday is one of the best defensive players in the league, and that's what the Bucks have been built around. So I think that's an easy call.
With this hypothetical, you got to take into the equation the trade kicker that also Bradley Beal has. If Beal doesn't opt into his trade kicker, a Middleton-Beal swap is pretty straightforward. But if he does, that extra $7 million on Milwaukee Bucks books, that's not easy to say, next year could make things more complicated for them. So this is probably unlikely, but he does have that trade kicker as well, which is insane. Let's talk Blazers. Okay, everybody keeps saying they're going to make a move here. They got to help Damian Lillard. Well, how about Bradley Beal? What about a hypothetical of Anthony Simons, Yusuf Nurkic, and then a pick? So as high as the number 3 pick that they have, or maybe even one of the lower ones, the number 23 pick by way of the Knicks in this year's draft for Bradley Beal. And here's Dame getting another sort of all NBA-ish guy to try and take a stab at success in Portland. Trey, we'll start with you on this one. What do you think?
I think that the Blazers would say no here.
Yeah.
Because they're giving up too much. To give up 2 starters and maybe 2 picks when everybody else is going to be offering 1 rotation guy and 1 pick, that is just too much for the Blazers. I could maybe be interested. If you get Kristaps Porzingis into this deal somehow, you would have to add Cam Reddish and Matisse Thybulle, which why would the Wizards be doing that? But also it would be hilarious to me to combine the Blazers and the Wizards into one team that is just constantly winning 39 to 42 games, and then they all combine their powers to win 44 games.
Yeah, it's a good point you bring up about Porzingis. Jake Fisher from Yahoo Sports says any Wizards return for Beal won't take place in a vacuum. Washington might also have another trade chip to consider during any Beal talks in Porzingis. He's considering picking up his $36 million player option for next season. So there is this whole KP thing here. But what about the Wizards? You think would be more interested in a Simons Nurkic, one of those picks? I mean, you wanted a very good pick. You're not going to get much better than the number 3 pick if that was something they were offering.
Oh, sure. I don't think the Blazers do this, though. I think they are giving up a lot. And, then they just become sort of the Wizards West. And it's like you're rolling out Lillard and CJ McCollum again to some degree. And you're just going to be like,
A much more
a
expensive
decent team.
version.
Yeah, like 4
of Dame and CJ.
Yeah. And are you going to be good? I mean, 4 years from now, those two guys are going to be making $120 million combined. Just two guys.
Yeah.
That's
a lot.
That's a lot. I mean, the Blazers are sort of in that same scenario as the Wizards are. You know, they've got a 30-year-old guard who hasn't led them. He's been there for one team, hasn't led them to a lot of playoff success. Yeah, they're in a very similar spot in a way.
Right. That's what I love about this hypothetical. It's quite the zag from the Blazers, where everybody's like, all right, probably time to move off Damian Lillard, fat contract, getting up there in age. Still a good player, of course, but like rebuild. And they're like, no. Let's go get a guy that gets $57 million at the end of his contract in Bradley Beal. All right, well, let's move on to the Knicks. I got 3 options for the Knicks because they could have a good player in the deal going to Washington, if that's what Washington wants, or they could do the poo-poo platter and more picks. So Bradley Beal going to New York for RJ Barrett, Evan Fournier because of the contract, and then picks here. 24 first-round pick, maybe a 24 second-round pick. Okay, you don't want to put RJ Barrett to Washington. What about Julius Randle? Maybe the Knicks want to get off that contract. So Julius Randle, Evan Fournier, same sort of pick deal for Bradley Beal. Or, like I said, maybe the poo-poo platter. It's more just looking at picks. It would be Derrick Rose. It'd be Evan Fournier. It would have to be somebody else. I just threw Hartenstein in there, but it's some other sort of lower level contract, and then multiple first-round picks for Bradley Beal going to the New York Knicks. Thoughts on any of those tasks?
I think the best of all worlds is the RJ Barrett plus a first-round pick. And the Wizards gave up their first-round pick and a deal, and it's ended up in the Knicks' coffers.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
Next year's first-round pick is the Wizards' pick that they have. So get it back. I think that would be the best pick that they could possibly get, is their own stinky pick in 2024. Plus RJ Barrett, a decent player. That's probably the best type of thing you're going to get as a young player plus a decent pick.
So you'd rather have RJ Barrett than Tyler Hero? It's sounding like, if you're the Wizards.
No, I'm thinking of the pick as well.
Okay.
The pick in the Tyler Hero scenario was 18. This pick could be top 5.
Okay. Thoughts on any of the Knicks deals here, and which one you like more than others?
Barrett's the best deal here, for sure. He's the youngest player. I mean, do you buy how good he was in the postseason, or do you buy how he's played during the rest of his career? I don't know, but the only reason that the Wizards would choose this is if they think RJ Barrett is better than Tyler Hero. And I would personally choose the Hero deal just because I don't think the pick difference is going to be all that different.
All right, moving on. One of the issues we've been talking about here is like, well, hold on. Do the Wizards want like a good young player, like a Barrett or a Hero? And again, people disagree on this. Yeah, of course you do. Some say no. Really lean into being quite bad and focus more on getting a bunch of expiring deals or other deals you can move easily and acquire more picks and stuff like that. So what about this one? I heard this one on the Athletic NBA show from our guys there. The Mavericks offering up Tim Hardaway Jr., Davis Bertans.
He's back.
He's coming home. JaVale McGee. And then the number 10 pick. So really, this is just... forget the players. I mean, this is getting close to expiring deals with some of these guys, and you got to get the money to even get Bradley Beal. But it's that number 10 pick. And then Beal going to Dallas with their squad there. How do we feel about this one from either side, Dallas or Washington? You're laughing. You're just chuckling.
Yeah.
I'm having fun, though.
This is fun. So, oh, man. It's just not all that sexy.
No.
The number 10 pick is really what you're looking at here.
Dallas
Hardaway
would
Jr.
do this in a heartbeat.
Oh, of course. It's sexy from their side.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you're taking a player, an all-NBA, all-star for Hardaway Jr., Bertans, McGee, and a number 10 pick. Not bad.
Yeah. Okay.
Be pretty happy on that side.
Okay, but the Wizards are probably saying we can do better than this. Unless Bradley Beal goes, it gets real nice and hot in Dallas. And I love that warm weather, and I'm only going there. Thoughts?
I think the best thing that Washington would be getting in this trade is that they would guaranteed keep their 2024 pick. It's currently protected 1 through 12 in 24, 1 through 10 in 25, 1 through 8 in 26. And if you trade for Bertans, McGee, and Tim Hardaway Jr., you will have one of the 12 worst records in the NBA. So you got a nice lottery pick coming next season. So maybe that's the move. But I think this is a no for me, Doug.
Okay. Also, when it comes to the Wizards picking, anywhere between 7 and 10, they don't have the greatest track history with that. All right, let's let's move on to a team that I am convinced could like sneak in here and try and get Bradley Beal. And that is the Golden State Warriors. So could it be something like Jordan Poole, Kuminga as the young, promising prospect? Let's say DiVincenzo, you need a third contract here, so it would be some sort of player. And let's say a future first, or maybe you don't even want to include that. Maybe Kuminga and Poole is enough to you for Bradley Beal. So Poole, Kuminga, something else to make the money work, potential pick. And the Warriors come out of nowhere, Tass, and say, no, we'll take Beal. We'll pair him with all of our old guys. We're trying to win a chip right now. Let's go. What do you think?
It's definitely promising from the Wizards side, depending on how you feel about Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole would have done himself a favor if he pulled a Tyler Hero and not played in the playoffs. It would have been like, okay, Poole, Kuminga, all right, in a future first. Some promise there, hoping that the first round pick would be decent.
I mean, they could include their own pick, the Warriors, this year. I think it's 19th. So it's similar. This is very actually similar to a Heat trade, really, in terms of like Poole instead of Hero. Kuminga better probably than any of those other pieces that were coming back. I mean, I guess you could convince like Jovic, but Kuminga seems way ahead of him in his development. And then the pick, sort of similar.
Some promise here.
So some promise. Okay, interesting. Trey?
Yeah, if you believe in Poole or Kuminga, like I think this is not terrible for the Wizards, especially if you're able to get a pick from the Warriors in the far future. Steph Curry might be retired by then. We have no idea what Mike Dunleavy Jr. is going to be like as the general manager there. Things are changing, and Steph Curry will not be able to play forever. So maybe like a 2027 Warriors pick. It ends up being a valuable one down the line. So I can see it happening from the Wizards' point of view if they like Poole or Kuminga, but I don't think the Warriors would do it because they'd be paying $130 million for Curry, Clay, and Brad Beal. Whew. That's too much money for three guys that play guard.
Yeah. All over the
And they would have
30.
to bring back Draymond and figure out how they're going to do that. So
Yeah.
I just think it's going to be too expensive for the Warriors from a dollars standpoint.
All right, this one, I'll admit, made some waves on Twitter when I just chucked it out there. It was like absolutely hypothetical. I wanted to get a feel from the Raptors fan base of how they thought about Bradley Beal going to Toronto. They need some shooting. Bradley Beal is an incredible scorer and shooter. OG and Fred VanVleet in a sign and trade. And holy shit, I got my ass ratioed. A lot of people did not like this. A lot of Raptors fans, I'm assuming, were not a fan of this. By the way, I asked Seth Partnow and Danny LaRue, two cap experts. I said, can you package a player in a sign and trade? Because it would have to be, sign VanVleet to a deal, and then can you package him with another player in a potential deal? Seth wrote back to me, God bless him, said, you can do that, though VanVleet's salary might have some weird rules for how it operates in a trade depending on the amount he signs for. So it's like this like sort of gray area. Even Danny LaRue did not know. I stumped him. He's like, I'm not really sure. So anyway, again, this is a hypothetical and everybody hated it. And I guess they hated it because they're like, this is too much for Bradley Beal. But you are a noted Raptors fan. Did you... You didn't respond to my tweet. I'm not sure if you liked it at all. But anyway, what did you think about this?
OG Anunoby and Fred VanVleet, if you're looking at it from a Raptors fan's perspective, that's two of their babies. They'd say no chance in hell. And I think if you're looking at it from a non-Raptors fan's perspective, they would say too much.
Okay.
Too much even. But if you're saying goodbye to Fred VanVleet,
That's what I'm talking about here.
then you start thinking.
But Raptors fans will tell you, we wouldn't trade OG for Bradley Beal straight up.
Yeah, Raptors fans don't.
That's what they would do.
They don't have a gauge. they don't know what's going on.
They're taking their cues from Masai. He's like, I won't trade OG for anything.
Yeah, I want 3 first-round picks. Yeah.
Raptors fans also don't remember what it's like having an offense-first player.
Yeah, interesting.
Right?
At the guard position?
Yeah, it's like since DeRozan was there, kind of.
Yeah.
An offense-first guy. But yeah, this is a no for the Raptors, I think.
Yeah, okay.
A no for the Raptors. Yeah, that's just too much. Like, let's say...
Like the Wizards say yes to this. Well, maybe not, because you're saying, why would they want to do this? Like, then the Wizards are sort of like half decent. They're starting to put together a decent team.
They love that.
Maybe too. they do love that. Yeah, they do love flirting with a play-in and maybe a first-round exit, but... So maybe they also say no to this. Anyway, it pissed people off, so we can move on. Final one here, and I don't have a board for it because I just saw Ghostface Ziller write this in his newsletter. If Beal is open-minded enough, Ziller wrote, to approve a trade to a team on the upswing, could the Magic put together something pretty tasty? for the Wizards. Like a better package than some of these other teams we're discussing. Jalen Suggs, Jonathan Isaac, Gary Harris, and one of their lottery picks, right? They have two. One by way of the Bulls, obviously. Don't they have 6 and 11 or something like that? That's not that bad, but that's, again, has to have Bradley Beal. Hey, he loves Florida. We love the weather down there. But he'd have to be like, okay, put me with Franz and Paolo and Wendell Carter Jr. And okay. I mean, that's the hiccup here, but I don't think that's that bad of a deal either for the Wizards.
Nah, maybe we will get into a bidding war after if you discuss all of these teams. If Lillard isn't on the board, the free agency class isn't going to be all that great. Maybe there will be a good offer out there for Bradley Beal, because this is getting into the realm of we're talking. I think the hero in the pick, Barrett in the pick. We'll get into some. This is a decent one. I think you can lump it in.
Any other thoughts on a Bradley Beal trade? Any other teams? Any other deals?
I heard the Kings pitched.
Heard the Kings.
Herder, Monk,
Yeah.
whatever else it takes to make happen. That one is interesting to me.
That's interesting.
That's pretty interesting. It definitely elevates the Kings, I think, and gives them a second creator, which they absolutely needed in the playoffs.
Yeah, man. Bradley Beal, that contract. I think people completely have forgotten how good he is, too, because these last couple of years, and we had the COVID season and all that. But even I'll admit, we're all saying he needs to be the second or third best player on the team. Okay, awesome. The problem then is you don't want your second or third best player to be paid $55 million. That's the hang up here. But I think Bradley Beal, wherever he goes, if it's Miami, if it's Milwaukee, if it's Sacramento, if it's one of these teams where he is the second or third guy, he's going to remind people very quickly how awesome he is. That I feel confident about, outside of him, breaking an ankle or something like that.
Yeah, and the money is a situation where the Knicks, I think, can make it work, because their best player is Jalen Brunson, not making the crazy $40 million like other people, 27 mil. They can ingest Bradley Beal there. He helps their team. They've got picks, and if they trade Washington back their pick, that's something that Washington can control. They can't control other teams' picks, but they can control their own pick. We can get bad enough to make our 2024 pick decent. So I do like the Kings as a possibility too. I mean, because they also in a similar scenario where they're not paying a ton for a lot of guys. This is exciting. Miami's a different scenario. They're gonna be paying a lot, but anyway, that would obviously make them a championship team.
Do you have a prediction at all of where Bradley Beal's going to land here in either the next couple weeks or next couple months?
Miami for me.
You think it is Miami?
Yeah, I'll go Knicks.
Okay.
He's not gonna be happy, but I'll go Knicks.
He has to be happy.
He's gonna be happier than Washington.
Yeah. What about the Nets? What about Ben Simmons? He looks good. You see his body?
Hey, he's jacked now. I can't wait to see him shooting.
All right.